Hello, howdy, and welcome to the Facecheck podcast. Oh, you didn't like that? Okay, I'll cut that out next time. But for now,
I didn't say I didn't like it. It was just funny.
Okay.
Howdy.
I hear you.
Howdy, partner.
I'm Micah. This is my brother Josiah to my left.
Hi.
On the other side of me is JR. You have to
I'm
actually
waving.
audibly say something. You can't just wave. They're not going to hear it.
I said after. I'm waving. It's comedy, Micah.
Okay. Okay, we'll move past
You
that.
don't understand.
All right, so we are I don't know if we're a League of Legends podcast or an esports. We're going to discover what kind of podcast this
I
is
feel
on the way.
esports
Good
is good
kind.
for now. Like, just say esports for now.
Okay, it's esports for now. Does anyone here watch anything other than League of Legends?
I raised my hand.
I raised my hand as well.
I mean, I can put up like 3 fingers.
3 fingers, gotcha. All right, so basically what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk a little bit about the LCS, franchising, best of ones. We're going to talk about the Overwatch League. We're going to talk about the CSGO Major that just recently happened, Cloud9 versus FaZe. And we're going to talk about us and what our love like.
What?
No.
What?
Sorry.
What was that?
Went to a weird place.
Need to
Reset.
reboot?
That sums up my
League
love
of
life.
Legends. How do you guys like it?
I mean, I like it. I mean, it's a game that like I can go in with friends. It's good for friends, definitely. But like, I don't know. Like, I love watching Pro League. It's fun. It's great. But like, I just can't do ranked. Ranked is the community is.
You got that ranked anxiety. I hear you.
It's too much. It's not like on one side it is like too much. Like, it puts a lot of pressure on you. Like, oh, you gotta get climbing and you gotta get up to the next tier. But it's just time consuming, and the big thing is just
Really
and
positive.
everybody really
Positive
positive,
community,
just
Definitely.
cheering you on.
I try to be positive in my games.
It's a
Yeah,
teamwork
definitely,
game,
me too.
and nobody wants to work as a team. So, like, matching up, it's not as bad, obviously, if you just do, like, go in a quick game, but I like playing with friends. I like playing with my friends.
What about you, JR?
Well, rank or like League in general is more like other sports in my life. You know, it was fun in my younger years. You know, when I had a lot of energy and a positive attitude. But as I grew older, I'm like, okay, let's leave it to the professionals. I took
Leave it to the
easily.
pros.
Yeah, leave it to
Gotcha.
the pros. I could have gone pro, but you know,
You had that opportunity
yeah,
back
but,
in your day. You know?
shoulder injury, hand injury.
The
and
scouts, they were there
tilting,
for the game.
so short ban. You know,
Short ban.
yeah.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't
you know,
know.
we won't
It was
mention
their fault. It was Riot's fault.
Of course, it always is Riot's fault. That's going to be our default position on this podcast. Is
Definitely.
it's Riot's fault, Rito, please. Yeah, as for me, I like League of Legends. Anyway, let's talk about real League of Legends esports, the pros game.
This is what I like. I mean, I haven't really been super into it, but recently, thanks to my brother here, I've gotten really into it. I was just kind of like, well, whatever. Like, early years, I was just like, Cloud9's great, TSM's great, everybody's great. Good teams are good, bad teams are bad. And I would just cheer for the good teams. I mean, Unicorns, when those guys came in, that was the only one team that I was like, oh, yeah, cool. But now, 100 Thieves are out here, and they're making big plays and making big wins. And I'm really into it now. I'm invested.
Yeah, I hear you. Definitely. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second.
Yep.
We came out of like a League of Legends era where it was, the strong survive, the weak get relegated, the weak are cast aside, and they have to lose all their investment. They're out of the league. They have to rank back up through the challenger scene. No more. Now we have franchise leagues. Basically, teams have bought their way a slot in the LCS. There's 10 teams, and we have 4 new teams joining us, in addition to the 6 that we decided to have. TSM, Team Liquid, CLG, and C9 of the old guard LCS, the ones who've been around basically since the beginning. And we have FlyQuest and Echo Fox, the survivors from previous period of additions to the LCS, and then we have our 4 new teams to the NBA LCS. I mean,
What?
NA LCS. We have Clutch Gaming. We have 100 Thieves, as mentioned before. We have Golden Guardians, which is also going to be an interesting topic later on when we talk about some staff changes that they've recently had. And we're going to talk about... do we need to talk about the last team there that I'm forgetting exists?
I mean, we talked about Golden Guardians, so I think you got...
Yeah, we talked about Golden Guardians. So you have to also talk about Optic, which, is also a rough team. Not in addition to the NBA LCS, instead in addition to the LCS that probably should have happened a while ago. Optic have been a really big esports brand for a while, but whatever they're doing with that team, that's that's on them. But how have you guys enjoyed the game? How have you guys enjoyed the new teams? Let's just talk about the new teams, the LCS. I know you guys have expressed before that you're very disposed to be fans of the 100 brand. How's that gone for you?
Oh, yeah.
It's gone pretty well. They're playing really well, and I just enjoy the players, and Afro is my senpai.
Your senpai.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, that's what kind of podcast. Okay.
I've always been a fan of you, so it's a no-brainer. Like, I don't know. They're definitely different. I mean, watch those vlogs that they're putting out, and most. I mean, you've seen for other teams, they're just kind of, just a bunch of hype machines kind of thing. It's like they're about taking you through like the process behind this, way that like you can really explore like their process, and it just like it seems like an outcast team that like, and plus it doesn't hurt that they're doing well, but yeah, they've got a good roster, they're likable. Like Zach and Cody. That's
nice summary. There you go. Amen. Yeah, I like the team. Obviously, I've been a big fan of Prawley for a while. When I started watching EU LCS, I'm like, all these EU personalities, all these EU people. EU, gross. Is there any Americans in this league? And then I found Prawley, American, the head coach of H2K. The best that EU's done in a long time. Semifinals at Worlds, my boy Prawley. He was the one who did that for them. For you too, so that's all full circle back around. One of the best teams. I like 100 Thieves. I like what Prawley says about them. They're like a team that is annoying, that run around the map and they outsmart you, all sorts of crazy. Basically, they just know what side lanes are, and no other team seems to know what side lanes are, so they win games. So that's nice. Yeah. Also,
to put some context, I myself, I'm still just getting into it. I'm a little bit of a noob, so keep that in mind. That I might not know half of the things these guys are talking about. I might not be able to keep up with them.
Well, we'll see. Well, maybe you'll learn a little bit as we keep talking. Well, let's talk about another team. Let's talk about the other team that seems to be having some success in LCS franchise system. And that's Clutch City Gaming, or now they're Clutch Gaming. They were apparently they were going to be called Clutch City. At least that was the Jacob report. But I guess they dropped the city. I don't know. Would you have liked that name?
I mean, if you're going to use Clutch, you might as well go all the way stupid. I mean, it's fine. Whatever. I mean, the team's whatever, so...
I don't know. Is the team whatever? I like Febiven. I think
Febiven's great, but like, I don't know. Is he as good as he?
Well, he got 12-0. He got his first competitive pentakill ever. So is he as good as he used to be? He's never gotten a pentakill before.
And his trash talk is still as good as it used to be.
Definitely. I mean, he railed on CLG. Yeah, that was.
But the team's doing pretty average. Maybe he's carrying, maybe he's not. But it's they're new. I mean, obviously it's too early to tell, but it does seem like they're just going to be one of the like middle of the line kind of teams.
But is that a really bad new team, new franchise, putting all these new players together, and average is still average in professional sports.
Yeah, it's a lot better than the other two teams we're about to talk
I already forgot their
talk
names.
about Optic and Golden Guardians. To that. Although, to be fair to Optic, I feel like most of their games have been fairly competitive, and they've had to play a lot of top tier teams in the first few weeks.
They have some good players. They have a few good players.
Mhm.
They're definitely showing that they're still good.
Yeah, they're trolling a little bit in the draft. Power Evil still likes to play attack speed mages for whatever reason. That's good. So that still happens, but Arrow seems to. I mean, in team fights, he seems to still be pretty good. And I've always loved Cloud9. Very cool player. Acadian's, swole as heck, so you gotta at least admire that. But then Golden Guardians, I think I don't know. Here's my thing with Golden Guardians. I'll go on a little bit of a rant. I love players. I do. They're all four of the OG veteran players that are on.
Remind me
Guardians.
who the players are.
It's Lorlo, Contracts, High, Deftly, and Matt. Now I don't know. I watched Deftly a little bit in the Challenger series last year, but I don't pretend to know too much about his play style. I knew that he was saying he was, but that's basically all I know. Lorlo though and Matt I've been following for a long time, and then High I think everyone's been following for a long time. And Contracts got a massive boost last year because of the split. He comes in, kind of becomes this new carry force for Cloud9, one of the junglers in the league, especially with Smithy and Lyra and so many different junglers, especially the last split, upping their performance so much. It's really remarkable that Contracts was able to do so well in that kind of league. So then I don't know what the problem is. I mean, I know it, to some degree what the problem is. Everybody else has two Koreans or really hardcore veteran carries, and Golden Guardians has a bunch of supportive kind of players. Lorlo is never. I mean, he has been sometimes kind of a carry, but only against lower level other top laners, and LCS has kind of purged most of the really bad top laners, so there's not many people for him left to destroy, right? And then Matt, he's been really good, to be fair, and I think he's been playing pretty good on Golden Guardians. I just really wish that they were able to, on the Liquid, that it was able to get double lift and able to get Pobelter and able to get some real carries to support, right? It's kind of a tragedy. But, it's tragedy that the Golden Guardians GM kind of brought on it.
I want to know
Definitely.
what your, especially on Optic, but for me, it's just they're both. I mean, the same thing. I love Power of Evil, I love Lemonation, but they're on a shitty team, so shitty teams are shitty. Both kind of, they're both pretty bad. That's all I really want to know what JR thinks. I haven't heard you talk about Optic yet.
As for Optic, I haven't watched very much of the game today, but today I did watch their game against C9, and I know Acadian still seems to be, getting lower after that high he had last season, slowly dropping, and he was playing new jungle and had no pressure on the jungler, which is mighty consume. You just put pressure on. He wasn't doing that. Then Arrow, he wasn't doing well in lane. Lemonation saved his butt so many times, but MVP of the league, Smoothie, kept dumpstering.
That's weird. I felt that Arrow was doing all right, but
In team fights.
Team fights, yeah, but during the laning phase,
They
it did
got
not
smashed.
look well. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think, when it comes to who was I just about to talk to? Acadian. It's hard to imagine that he's still getting such a boost from last season, because it was only 10 games out of it was 40 games played in the first split that he was even hard carrying, right? Those are really, really crazy games, and he was a rookie, so it gave him a big boost, I think. But the summer split, he was not playing very well. He got subbed out for Grig, who's an academy jungler, and he wasn't doing very well. So it's okay, if you're subbing out Acadian for this guy, what's your plan? So I know I think people still give Acadian a lot of grace in defense of him. I don't know. I haven't seen anything out of this guy for so long.
I feel like they give him the grace, but contracts also in a similar situation. He has much as hype and like in higher stages in the game, he got way more much criticism in the medium when Acadian started.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like, 5 games now, and people are shitting all over contracts.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, it's like, look at his roster. Look at his coaching staff. I mean, they just fired Lokodoko, which, I mean, we don't know too much about why that happened. People are shitting on Lokodoko online, saying, okay, well, he failed with Liquid, he failed with Goldcoin United, he's failed so many times, he's not going to get on a team again. Well, at least to me, I mean, I don't consider any of his... I'm a big Liquid fan, so you have to know that that's my bias coming into this. But Loco was never really the problem. Liquid, I mean, in the spring split, he's supposed to come in and coach a roster of like Was, I Will Dominate, Phoenix, Piglet, and Smoothie. That's supposed to be his roster. You know, imagine that roster coming into the spring split of the LCS, and then he loses I Will Dominate, he loses Quas. Smoothie ends up not performing very well, and they have to like him off the team eventually, or he leaves, one or the other. And he has a rookie support in Matt, he has a rookie top laner in Lorlo, and he has a rookie jungler in Dardoch. And he's still able to nearly get to the finals with that roster. And then the very next split, he loses Piglet off of the same roster, and has to replace him with Babby, and then later Jinth. And then that roster, he still gets to playoffs. Like, people flame Lokodoko so hard, but I don't know. What do you guys think about Lokodoko?
I have no enough about like the past or anything. Like, I'm a newbie. So, I mean, if they are firing him just because they're not winning games, like, that's some bullshit, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's definitely some bullshit.
You can't be doing that. If it's because of something he did, as I understand, he's been kind of confrontational guy, or
I mean, he's been bad with confrontation.
That makes sense. I mean,
criticism.
I mean, it's very different in esports, isn't it? Than these other sports, like physical stuff. Just, you have a whole different kind of person coming into it. You got nerds coming in. Mm-hmm. You got guys who, like, you know, maybe they have a little bit of a business experience or something, but like, especially coaches and like these like motivational guys coming in. But like, for the most part, like, the players and coaches, like, you know, they're the same guys who are just sitting, you know, they're same guys as us. So they're the same guys just sitting down in front of their, you know, computers all day, playing League of Legends, playing video games, not socializing, all that. Confrontation does not come easily to us.
And then when you have Lokodoko,
and we don't handle it well.
And when you have Lokodoko, like a former pro player turned coach, you know, he hasn't really been in the situation those areas, right? You know, it's hard to imagine, like, being very well equipped. You know, I feel like you need to give him an assistant coach who's going to be able to supplement authority, right? And like, make him a strategic coach. Does he have to be a life coach? I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit too defensive.
I think we might be giving him too much leniency. Like, go back to like other more physical sports. We expect them to be, you know, physical monsters with a bunch of emotion on the field and court. But then you take them out, put them on an interview or on a talk show, and we expect them to be professional, speak well. In the same way, we should probably expect like LCS coaches to do the same thing. Or they come from a background where, you know, there might not be that much social interactions, but they should be able to learn and adapt if they're going to take on the responsibility of a coach of. Like, this is like Lokodoko. He dealt with so many big personalities, like I Will Dominate, Piglet,
Bjergsen,
on
TSM,
people like that. So I would assume that he's got it down by now how to deal with personalities like.
Yeah, I agree. You definitely like expect them to adapt, but at the same time, I still maintain that we're just they're just geeks. Like it's hard. It's not the same as in professional sports. You have those coaches and like they've trained their like a lot of these guys are like ex-athletes and they've done football or basketball lives coming into this. They've like built their careers up to this. A lot of, esports is fairly new. A lot of these guys just decided, hey, I could do this kind of thing. They didn't have a bunch of people like training it up. And I guess esports isn't like new. I'm talking about like the modern esports, like the modern things. I don't know how far these guys' career go, but I'm sure it's not that far to really have that much experience. But at the same time, I do agree with you. Yeah, if he's been coaching the whole time, then we don't even know. It's one of those incidents, and frankly,
it's kind of a situation where it better have been something that was, interpersonal or like a failure to professional standards, or else if Golden Gardens is firing him because of performance issues, like
that's bad.
That's really, because we're talking about 4 games. We're talking about a roster that really doesn't have a place winning this LCS. It's a bad situation.
Currently, politically, I haven't felt bad about anybody being fired for personal issues in a while. There's been a lot of good stories about that recently. But, it depends on what the infraction is. And, yeah.
All right, what do you guys think about, let's talk about the teams that survived the franchising system, the ones that necessarily we didn't think were going to, namely Echo Fox and FlyQuest, those 2 teams. What do you guys think?
Well, Echo Fox, they bounced back and then some.
I know. Oh my God.
Who would expect them to start doing what they're doing this season?
They completely did the roster, so we can't have too many expectations on them. But even so, what people were saying about this roster was like, I know,
was it
crazy.
Completely the roster last year though? Like, cause I feel like it seemed like just coach didn't know too much about what's going on there, and like I felt like their roster last year wasn't awful, and yet they were not doing well.
Yeah, that's not a bad point, but they kept the coach, so I'm not sure what to think about that.
Did they? Okay, I didn't know that.
Nero's the coach for Echo Fox. He's the strategic coach. I'm not sure about whatever authority systems they have in place. But he was a coach in Oceania, in the Australian region, and he moved to the States, started coaching. I don't know if he's Australian or if he's from the US. I don't know much about his origins. I just know that's where he was coaching. He's coaching Echo Fox ever since last year. But they're doing killer work. What is it? They're 4-1. They're tied for number 1 team of the league. Yes, last week they had it on lock. It's hard not to win a league when you have Huni, Dardoch, and then Phoenix and an Azir meta. Right?
They built this team for Worlds, definitely.
Maybe we'll see
Worlds, maybe.
4 Worlds. 4 Worlds is in an NA region, of course. We're not TSM over here. We're not delusional.
Oh, no.
But I think, we'll see how they keep doing. I think in this meta, it's really easy for them to succeed. With Azir, you have Ryze, you have champions that Phoenix has always been really good on, and the main criticism has always been, okay, can this guy really succeed in a meta that's not Azir Ryze? And, he's had a good Cassio, he's had good other mid champs, but it's hard to see him continuing like this hard carry performance. Especially because he hasn't been up against like too many hard carry. So we'll see how it goes. I'll take an Adrian look solid though.
And we've seen like teams like this before, like newer teams coming up and doing really well at the beginning of the split and then downhill after a while. People like eventually the more they face teams, the more teams figure each other out, and that's where like more experience and overall better players like and stuff figure it out, and like the gap between them and Echo Fox widens. Then
definitely, and we've even seen Huni do this, like smashes a regular season, goes into playoffs, and then crumbles. Right, like it's happened twice now. So we'll see. It's a good wheel.
I believe in him this year.
Believe in Echo Fox. Okay, what about FlyQuest? A little bit of a different matter because we are seeing a situation where Fly's main mid laner isn't able to play because of some weird, unusual visa issues. And from what the interviews are coming out and saying, it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to play at all. So Keen, in the meantime, has been at least good enough to beat TSM.
I was a fan of these guys last year. Or at least I didn't hate them. I liked them. I was willing to defend a lot of points. But I mean, this year they're fine. I guess they're not doing fine, but they're fine.
They're doing fine. I mean, what they should be like 2-3, right? Or 3-2, something like that.
I'm pretty sure
they're middle tier.
I think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna get any better.
Yeah, it's hard to because especially since I don't think they're having a lot of practice with their main roster. Anda looks good, but mostly just on Zach. Flame has always looked good. Flame has never looked bad. And Turtle, Turtle's always looked. He's kind of like that pop off AD carry, like he either does
budget double lift.
Budget double lift.
I'm disappointed, Turtle.
Since last split, or
just this since last split, I guess he was fine, but
he was on
just.
He got what 4th place in the end?
Mortals?
No, with he was on FlyQuest.
Yeah, he was on FlyQuest
last play. It was weird.
That's why. That's a lot.
Because when you think of FlyQuest last split, you think of high
Lemonation.
Wild Turtle wasn't really doing Wild Turtle things. He was doing
definitely right now
FlyQuest things.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely right now.
I don't think he's badly this split. Maybe my expectations for Wild Turtle have been a lot lower since last year.
Yeah, definitely.
He's not the immortal
player
by
bias. He's he was great in War.
Or was he just carried by Huni and Rainover? Anyway, let's move on to let's move
Hold
on to
let's not move on.
Okay. Cloud9. What do you think about? Everybody said that Cloud9 lost the offseason. That was I think the most repeated phrase all across the different internet boards, Reddit, everything. They trade out Impact for a rookie named Licorice. They trade out Contracts, one of the best junglers of last year, with Sven Skaren, who a lot of people were saying was one of the worst junglers of last year. And they keep their core of Jensen's smoothie. But what did you guys think before the split? What did you guys think about Cloud9?
Before the split happened, Contracts for Sven Skaren, I didn't think that was that bad. Contracts, he played well enough, but I didn't see too much from him that I felt bad that he was being intense. Not too big of a swap. Mm-hmm. Impact leaving though, I think that definitely would probably hurt them later on, maybe in playoff time. But at the same time, Impact wasn't always playing; they were getting ready to even out eventually. So, gotta just put a rookie in now. So eventually, when playoffs come, they're becoming.
Mm-hmm. I think Licorice is picking up the slack. He's doing pretty well. He's making some good plays. He's filling in. Maybe he's not as good as Impact, but
I don't know, because if you compare last year's split of Impact to this year's Licorice, it's hard to say that Licorice isn't better. It seems like he's almost like an upgrade for Cloud9. To be fair,
I agree, but I'm hesitant to say it just because it's too early to say that he's better. I say it's too early, but I think he's definitely picking up the slack. He's definitely making some great plays. That when I was disappointed in that game against 100 Thieves, but he definitely dominated. Mm-hmm. He was extremely good. Sven Skaren. He's definitely not proving anybody wrong necessarily, but he's doing okay. He's not doing terribly, so I feel I don't think he's doing as bad as anybody thought.
Yeah, and then there were some people who were saying, okay, this will finally unlock Svenskeren because he was on TSM, he was a ward bot. Now he's on Cloud9, he can do whatever he wants. I mean, maybe not that far, but he's been pretty good. We'll see. It's a long season.
And Sneaky's just going to be great.
Although, is it a long season? We should talk about best ones after we finish the rest of the teams. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
CLG, Counter Logic Gaming. I don't know about you guys, but it's not been the brightest start, at least.
Well, they beat one of the best teams in the league, therefore
Okay,
they're the
yes.
best team in the league.
Today, they, for context anyway, we're recording on the day where Cloud9 goes up against Echo Fox, and I loved this game in particular because it was a bright spot. It kind of reminded me of 2016, CLG when they met to MSI and where they go up against SKT. Because it's like, Darshan, smashing on people he shouldn't be able to fight in lane. And then, kind of like Xmithy playing some random shit in, the jungle with, Rainover playing Nunu. It just kind of, and then it was the exact kind of Hoo-Hee performance like we used to expect early last year, the year before, where, basically he would just, play some, champion. It seems like he has no idea how to play, and he misses half his skill shots, but he lands just enough of them so that the team can capitalize and just roll over everyone. I don't know, it reminded me of early CLG, but I mean they haven't always been, not the split.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Rainover's been a lot worse. He's kind of been on a downward trend, so it's nice to see him kind of admit that to himself almost, pick up Nunu, be more supportive, throw some snowballs. What do you think? CLG?
Again, disagree. It's they're definitely not going to be the same season. So, I don't know. I feel like we can forget about them, kind of.
What do you think about Jat? Jat made the prediction at the beginning of the split that they'd be number one. He was gonna keep predicting CLG victories.
I can't agree with anything that guy says.
Speak it into existence.
TSM Jat. Yeah, exactly. And then the first day he predicts against them, they come up and they beat Echo Fox. So, he's the curse, I guess. And then we have TSM, Team Liquid, my favorite team, everybody else's favorite team is TSM. I'm in the happiest days basically as a Team Liquid fan because I jumped on the bandwagon when we got third place in 2015 spring, and in 2015 summer we got first place, and then we didn't get to Worlds somehow, and that started the disappointment. And I lived through that disappointment for so long. 2016, 2017, although the Dardock years were kind of fun. Finally, we're in the heyday. We are in the Liquid era. The Dark Horse era. Here we come. Xmithy, my boy in the jungle.
He's
Best
been fucking
NA
up.
jungler. Has he?
He did some fuck-ups.
Okay, a little bit. But I'm willing to overlook anything from Xmithy, We got Poe Belter just killing it in the middle.
Also kind of fucking up.
Hey, 10-1, on Corky today.
Underrated mid lane.
Always
think I
underrated.
watched
200
that.
IQ, I love watching Liquid games. Their content's great. Their trash talk from Double. I mean, he's bringing the whole new level of trash talk. And they're backing it up. They look like the best team in the league. I think. Maybe Echo Fox made a good argument last week. C9's made a pretty good argument. It's hard because they really did struggle against. Who was it they struggled against? I'm trying to remember the game. I think it was
won or lost.
They won, I think, in the end. I'm trying to remember. It was their game against Clutch. Did they play Clutch yet? I don't know. I remember one game where they struggled a lot. But if I can't remember the details. 100 Thieves, did they struggled there too.
Yeah.
Anyway. And then TSM, weird start, but Mike Young sucks, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, today's game was pretty bad. I mean, it just felt like, sure they are winning, but why you'd start thinking, why is it taking so long? And it's because they're not doing well. I mean, Golden Guardians suck, sure, but if they're struggling to just close up like within like 20 minutes against these guys, then something's wrong.
I mean, the thing that's wrong is it seems like Ben and Mithy are having trouble kind of communicating with her. Mike Young, I don't know. I always have felt that Mike Young was overhyped. Like, even when people were saying, Mike Young, rookie of the split, Mike Young, rookie of the split, I'm like, okay, well, what about Niski? Like, is anybody going to be talking about Niski? What about, some of these other players who are coming out at the... and everyone's still voting for Mike Young. Hey, Grig's not bad. Not going to consider him, but, he gets overhyped because Rift Rivals... I don't think he's bad. I think he's
playing really well. He deserved most of the hype, I think.
For a while, but the end of Phoenix 1, that split,
Yeah.
He went to relegations, right? I think no, he didn't. I think he missed out on relegation. Liquid, and it was it was P1. It was P1 and Liquid last split. Relegation, sorry. Excuse me. But yeah, I think TSM's gonna pick it up. I mean, they always have. Irritates me. It infuriates me. I love it. I love seeing TSM lose. I am a TSM hater, brand name hater. I love to do it. I love to get dabbed on. 100%. 100.
How much of you think like these old guard teams struggling is more about the best of ones?
Yeah, I did want to bring that up too.
Yeah, because then like between coaching and their experience, I think like usually better teams like in other like professional sports, better coach teams and more experienced win like best of sevens or best of whatever in sports. So I was wondering like these best of ones are helping some of these newer hot teams, more like more like streaky players who aren't very consistent have pop off moments.
I mean, it's more entertaining to watch though.
Most of it.
I mean,
is, yeah.
I couldn't. That's one of the reasons that I even struggled to start watching Pro League in the first place. Is just because, like, the games were just way too long.
Yep.
Especially out of 7, like there's no way I could have watched it. Like,
I don't think there've been any best of sevens actually.
Never best of sevens.
Not in League.
What am I thinking of?
That's basketball.
It's easy, basketball teams, Houston Rockets, Golden State Warriors.
Best of 5.
They're all the same.
That's what I meant was best of 5. I don't know why I said so.
Yeah, best of 5s were crazy. I mean, like that's like
It's
legit 5 hours, right?
Too much.
Yeah, that's too much. I guess it's tiring.
It's hard. I think when it comes to like big finals, like World Finals, like LCS Finals, going to Game 5, that's exciting. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll watch 5 hours of a final. But if you're asking me to watch, a best of 5, quarterfinals, I don't remember if quarterfinals and some best of 5 or best of 3. I think they're best of 5, right? But anyway, I think that it's just exhausting. We're watching like so many. A lot of them end in 3 20-minute stomps, but not enough of them.
There's a reason why they did it though, because part of it's endurance, definitely. The other parts, just like there are tons of different happened, and when you win a total number of games over the other team, there's something definite about that win, something definite about that victory that you can call them, especially in a tournament. But if they're franchising, they definitely want to. So I think, to answer your question, I think, yes, it does affect it. I think, we're newer players that fit that kind of game way better, and they're able to excel that way. Should we change it?
During the regular season.
What was that one Reddit post like last year where like we had just switched to best of 3s over best of 1, and TSM were like 0-10 in best of 1. They were like doing terrible. Like in every first game in the best of 3, they'd lose, but they'd still win the next 2 games. So like they were the top team in the LCS.
Yeah.
Like they're the best team easily. It's like, but if this was a best of 1, system, they'd like be the bottom of the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like sometimes you have to wonder like how impactful is this? And also with TSM, like how bad actually are they? Are they like kind of middle pack working their way up again to the top, or are they actually still like top tier? They just are really bad in best of one.
Oh, that could be definitely. I mean, yeah, because TSM's kind of, or at least to me, seem best. Definitely, it wasn't hard to win. Like people were doing time, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like kind of. There was nobody who could say my claim to fame was one game. TSM. It's like
exactly.
Everyone
if it was SKT, that was something to talk about. But like, yeah, TSM was TSM. You could beat them. You can beat them easily. And could you beat them all? Could you win all your games against them? Probably not. Or it's early TSM. Now, yeah, that could definitely be it. But I think it has a lot.
Yeah, I think there's definitely roster problems, but I know early TSM before best of 3, they were able to get really crazy good game wins and not have to worry about dropping best. I know. I think they just need to kind of revert back to that older kind of TSM style, maybe, but not too hard. Don't get Reggie too involved. You know, I like Coach Song.
I think like just like most TSM success and failure like revolves around Bjergsen. So I think best of one might affects TSM a good amount. What do most teams do in those best of 3? The first game they just camp Bjergsen, and then the next 2 or 3 games TSM just switches their tactics, focus the game on bot lane or through like jungle. Now like with Bjergsen, he doesn't have the luxury of having a slow start and then picking it up. Like he has to like right off the bat start carrying, especially with the new roster. He's like the pressure's even more on him to carry because he can't really rely on the people.
Yeah, and it's the hardest. I think this is the best mid lane pool of talent that NA LCS has ever had. Right? You have Bjergsen, Jensen, Febiven, Reed. You have Power of Evil, Pobelter, and then like when you're talking about the worst mid laners in the league, you're talking about names like Pi, like one of the best NA mids ever, right?
Yep.
You're talking about like who else is there even somebody else who could you consider bad, right?
Bad?
I guess Keen, but Keen's
he's a bench player.
Keen's never not been in the playoffs, right? Keen's like always been like a significant player. Phoenix coming back in the Azir meta is like destroying people. I think that Bjergsen has a out for him. That said, it really is on him. Like he really does need to carry. Like he needs to change something in his playstyle. So not that I think he's bad, but
well, I've gone through everybody though.
Yeah, we've got through everybody. One of the reasons I want to talk about like viewership. I want to talk about like how it feels to be a fan of the LCS because like especially with the advent of Overwatch League, something that I know that Josiah and I have been watching a little bit recently. I don't know how much you've watched.
I've been
dabbling, but it just to like on a production level, on an esport like the game itself level, on so many levels, like I feel like it's coming in and it's trumping a lot of the things that League of Legends seem to be better. Like I always like looked at CS:GO tournaments that were on, or I looked at like some other tournaments. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to watch this because like certain things like the production level didn't seem to be as good, like graphics, like music, stuff like this. And then when I look at the LoL broadcast, I'm like, oh, you got these casters in suits, you got really high res cameras, you got like really cool transition periods, stuff like this, and everything just seemed cleaner, more professional, more interesting. And then we got Overwatch League coming in, and they're just like destroying whatever League of Legends is doing, which is even like wearing like more casual clothing. They're just like
fun.
They're fun. They're interesting. They got some of the best casters I've ever seen. Like Semler from CS:GO, one of the best CS:GO casters. They got Monty and Doa, always considered like one of the best casters in Legends.
It is brand new though, and it's hard to get into it just because I feel like they wanted, we got a lot of different people buying in this team. Got a lot of different new teams, but with them trying to get them new names, new identities, everybody started on a fresh slate. I feel like it actually hurt them a little because there's not as much excitement to get into it because unless you know that Valiant is Immortals, or if you know these things, then like, oh sure, yeah, I'm gonna jump in on this team's bandwagon. But if you don't know anything, you're just like, oh, what are these like London Spitfire? Anybody on London? Oh, it's a bunch of Koreans. Like, okay, I mean, I guess I'll watch. Maybe I won't. It's like there's no. I feel like it takes away from excitement, like to have some name, like some sort of name attached to it. But
I guess so.
It's working. I guess it's still fun.
I think that to a certain degree, we are seeing like people who are watching like start to choose teams. Like, this is my team. Like, I never knew anything about them, but I watched them play this game, and I'm like, oh, wow, they're cool. And also, they have this player, and he's really cool. And the caster's talking about this guy. I think I like this team. And then as they keep watching, they might buy into that team more. I think the other thing that's really helping is the fact that, unlike League of Legends, you actually have the skins of the Overwatch teams that you can get for yourself to
really
use
cool.
in Overwatch.
That's super dope.
Yep.
But and it's weird because it's the only kind of skin that you can actually pay for specifically. I wish you had at least the option to be able to do that for.
Yeah.
But then it would.
That's kind of Overwatch.
That would take the whole loot box thing.
I mean, we're not big fans of loot boxes here, but
What? I like money.
But yeah, we'll develop loot boxes for the show. Little sound bites that you can unlock with loot boxes that you pay for. How does that sound, viewers? That exist
loot
completely.
Boxes aren't really hurting if you're not buying a bunch. I feel like they're fine. It's the CS:GO shit and it's all this other shit.
Yeah, but the fact that you can get a skin for, let's say I'm like, oh wow, the Soul Dynasty skins look really cool. I'm gonna get 2 of those, right? And I get the Soul Dynasty skins, and I'm playing them every game. I see myself like, oh, I gotta play the game. Look at that cool Soul Dynasty skin. And then I tune into Overwatch League, and I see Soul Dynasty's wrecking people. And then, to a certain degree, does it really matter that I've never heard of Soul Dynasty before or Overwatch League, or that they're all Koreans and I'm not Korean? Does that really matter if I am able to say my team that I can represent in game is winning games, or is gonna win the whole season, right? Or even if they're losing, I'm like, oh no, my team is sucking, right? It kind of brings you in, makes you more invested. I wish, to a certain, I do like the specialness of the worlds. If you win worlds in League of Legends, you get a skin set, right? Yeah. I like how special that is, and I do realize I wish they had something like a chroma for League of Legends where you could I'm wearing my Bjergsen Syndra skin, right? I want to be able to rep Team Liquid in game, not with just an icon, because an icon is whatever, they help them.
I feel like they could do something the damage, because I feel like if heroes, I know, hold your groans, Heroes of the Storm can at least get all this okay, their game isn't great, but they kind of have it down with the unlockable emotes and the sprays and all this stuff, all these other little cosmetic stuff that you can use in game. And I feel like doing something like that for teams and stuff might be nice. That might be a little extra.
I'm gonna go really quickly back to the names of the teams and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like though that they are making their own team brands without any backing, and the biggest point I like is they have a city attached to it, because I think that's the big problem with League for me was I would never follow a team to be a player that I connected with, Afro or something like that, because I wasn't really connected to any of the teams. Maybe Immortals a little bit, because they're here in LA, and I was with them for a little bit, but besides that, League has also been a struggle for me to pick one team, especially roster moves are every split. So players move, I follow the player. But as for Overwatch, they have a city attached to it. Okay, that's the team I'm going for because I live in that city. It's to me. And as for skins, yeah, I really like that Overwatch does that, where it allows you to play in those team skins. And for sports, I was watching football and I was reading an article, my team, the Dallas Cowboys, how a big portion of the fans came in just because they like the colors of the team. So it's wearing someone thinking that skin looks cool. they wear that skin, like, oh wait, this is a professional team's actually pretty good, and then all like brings fans in and starts building loyalty.
Kind of makes the whole mayhem situation tragic though. It's like not only does nobody want to purchase their skins because they look like McDonald's skins, then you get the McDonald's skin and you realize your team is complete garbage.
Well, the color combo works though. It works. I would say that I'm conflicted by your answer because I like it being. We three live in the LA County, and so we like LA teams. And it's nice. We have two teams. We're getting two of everything recently. We're getting Rams and Chargers. And my God.
I was like, I heard the Chargers coming too. I'm like, what? We have enough.
We didn't ask for that. Let's bring us a winning team.
We get a lot of more tourists.
Does that mean we're gonna have two stadiums too? Like two full stadiums?
They're building one in Inglewood.
That's ridiculous. You know that with Overwatch, they're actually gonna build stadiums for each city.
Shit.
Oh wow!
I wonder
That's
what
intense.
Gladiators, Valiant, it's
probably
the same
share a
situation.
stadium.
What type of stadium?
It's esports. It's not gonna. It's just gonna be one.
Well, on one hand, yes, but on the other hand, Gladiators is owned by the Rams, so the Rams could probably make their own side stadium for esports.
What
promote it that way too,
Back to what I was saying. What was I saying? I was saying, basically, it's good that we have it there, but then I look at the roster and I'm like, these guys aren't LA. I think Valiant has one dude from California, and that guy's from like Chico.
But that's always been the way it's been in all sports, right? Like,
especially
if you look
esports.
at the Houston Rockets, how many of those guys are actually from Houston? It's like,
or LA guys.
That's just because of that's just because of player trading.
Yeah,
but that's been going on for years and years. The NFL has been around for a long time, and that's been going on forever. They've expanded recruitment to be just nationwide instead of that area. So rookies are going to come from everywhere. But I don't know. I guess you had to do that for if you're going to franchise on this scale. It's a global scale. So I guess you had to do that. But
yeah, also how many
I would like some guys to be
Overwatch players at the top tier.
That's just bad business.
It's nice to have some of them, right? But I mean, maybe we go pro in Overwatch and we become LA.
And if they really want to connect with LA, I don't think a player would do it, but maybe make the logo or the team name something that connects with Los Angeles. But
is anybody in London really rooting for London Spitfire that much?
Yeah, actually, some people.
They're all Koreans.
Yeah, but
every single one of them.
I mean, on one hand, it's like, oh, all Koreans. On the other hand, they're the best team. It's like, it's not hard. It's not hard. It's like... I feel like it would be a lot harder to root for, Valiant or Gladiators if, let's say they were a full roster and they sucked.
Yeah.
That'd be hard, but that's not going to happen.
I'm not trying to be a nationalist here. I'm just trying to say, I'm just trying to say, I wish there were more guys from California there on these teams. But, I mean, they're both good. I mean, I'm a Valiant fan. And a Gladiators fan, I would say, just because, I buy into the city thing. I just wish there was some LA guys there.
Yeah, definitely. I also wanted to talk a little bit about CSGO Major. I don't know if both of you watched it. It was really exciting. Cloud9 won against FaZe. But I want to talk more about CSGO as a game, Overwatch as a game, and League of Legends as a game, and how they kind of convert into esports viewers, right? Because I was basically spending the week, I was watching all three of these different leagues. I was watching sports from all three, and I was really interested. I was like, okay, they have very different styles, and they all seem to bring in, very different viewership. And I was kind of realizing, okay, League is exciting, and it's cool, and it has big viewership because it's the most popular game in the world, It's really easy to get into, it's free, it's really cool like that, but... I'm watching Overwatch. I'm like, oh, this is so clean. There's so many different map types. They're all so visually cool, and the characters all do really. Yeah, CS:GO. There's nothing characters in CS:GO. The map types are all nice, but they're not visually crazy.
Nope, stuck in 1990.
Exactly. and even the graphics of the game aren't super cool. But then I'm looking at the excitement behind push. You have 15. I think like 30 total attempts at like trying to win on either T side, right? And it just every single like 2 minutes, you have this like excitement. You have like these showdowns, this like tests of skill. Whereas in League you have so much farming, you have so much setting up for objectives, things like this, and they're interesting. I like following them as somebody who's like trying to get more into the analytics behind League, but watching it as a viewer, it's so sometimes grating because you're kind of have to revert to like a best of one format, which isn't as good because people aren't really willing to sit through all that.
Remember turret trading?
Turret lane swaps. Every game had like a full 10 minutes that like basically no one was able to do anything weird, and if you did something weird, it's because you were throwing the game.
Exactly.
And I mean, turret swaps would become something that's really cool now because
First Blood,
because of Gigabyte Marines, but I feel like League of Legends always kind of pushes itself. We're always complaining about the meta, like, oh, this meta is so boring, right? Or, oh, this meta is like bizarre, causing stupid upsets, stuff like that.
Well, when they're trying to update and they put out a patch, they're not trying to fix things to create a new meta or fix the meta. They're just trying to fix, they're just trying to rebalance the game.
But sometimes they are. Sometimes they're like, oh, this has been too boring. We gotta nerf it because it's boring, right? Like sometimes they actually have like they literally did the whole turrets. Like they changed turret trading, lane swaps, right? They made the first blood for turret thing just to stop teams from swapping lanes every single game for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They just literally tried to kill that meta, and that's
not gonna
fine.
Go away though. We're gonna swap.
I mean, Gigabyte Marines is always gonna do it.
There's just gonna be some bad matches.
Yeah, I think you don't see it anymore in like LCS. You don't see it in Korea. I think you'll see it in like teams. You have to be really courageous to do the swap because it can set you so far behind. But I know when I'm looking at like CS:GO, they do updates. People complain about patches and stuff, but I mean, the game itself it's so viewable, And Overwatch, like, people complain about viewing Overwatch because of all the clutter, right?
It does.
But once you get into the game, once you understand what's going on and you play it, I feel like on a certain level it's so much more viewable because there's so much action going on. There's like every second there's something happening,
That's very
There's always, you get to see those Widow headshots, you get to see like every second somebody can be doing the thing that makes the play, that wins the game, carries the team. It's like, oh, it's so cool.
I can answer your question about in simply it's Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike's been around. It's hard to watch like for anybody new. You're trying to get in. Like these guys have been watching it forever. Their favorite thing. It's an obsession.
Well, I was saying that CS:GO is so viewable. Like, it's so easy to watch.
Oh, I thought you said it was hard to watch.
No, it's so easy to watch, in my opinion, because every second's like another thing of action. You don't really need to know about economy. You don't really need to know about frag placement, right?
Oh, yeah.
You just kind of need to know, look at this guy, looking into the smoke.
Aiming.
When the smoke clears, he's going to have the chance to get the headshot. If he does, awesome. If he doesn't, he's dead.
Anything from a first person. You're seated in, watching it unfold from it feels like you're watching it from your viewpoint, and also everything's up close and personal. League is always going to be a little bit boring to watch just because it's from a top-down perspective. Everything seems to be going at a snail's pace, and any time that a team fight's happening, so many flashing things, maybe it feels like it's over too fast. But it's slow because you're watching it from like a top-down perspective, But anything from any FPS is going to be.
But I mean, really also to a certain extent, if you're watching from a top-down perspective, that's true. But that is the player's perspective. When you play League of Legends, you're playing from a top-down perspective, right?
Are we talking about No,
I mean when
playing
when Hanser's playing his champion, right? He's seeing the same thing we're seeing, right?
What I'm saying is, it's about how close you are to the action, how close you are seeing the action.
I get you.
And you're going to get that better in any, like, first person or over the shoulder, better than, because it's a strategy game. You know, it's Age of Empires, it's Warcraft, it's Starcraft. It's like, yeah, it's going to be a little slower because it was designed to be a little slower so you can think a little faster and move a little faster. I mean, League comes from Dota, and Dota comes from a Warcraft mod. Like, yeah, it's gonna be a little slow just because that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's gonna be a little less engaging. But if you play League, if you know what's going on, then I feel like it'll still hold your attention enough. Sometimes it's nicer to be slower too. Sometimes it's nicer to be able to see what's going on every little moment. Yeah, the first person can get overwhelming and cluttered.
I think the other thing that's kind of annoying about is that it's very predictable. I think that this split is kind of challenging that because SK Telecom is not doing well in Korea. TSM's not doing well in NA. You have the traditional top 4 teams in Europe are like now the bottom 4 teams. And I think that that's being challenged a little bit this split, which is exciting and cool. But I feel like League of Legends has been predictable for a while. Like SK Telecom wins, it's the World Finals. Korean teams are always going to be NA teams. NA and EU are always going to trade and on the major important stuff. And NA will come out with like random upsets all the time. And I know, to a certain extent, like I kind of like how in CS:GO it's a different team winning every major, and like in Overwatch League it does seem a little bit more predictable, but there've already been like major upsets, season, and that's really cool. I really hope at least I really hope that what people in the industry are saying is true, where when one ship rises, the tide rises for everyone. Like I really do hope that like presence of Overwatch League and the success it's getting is Legends step it up, because I think there's so many things like the studio. I think up the replays in game, the way that we do like additional content along like videos in between games, interviews. I think that all can really learn from Overwatch League how they do it, and hopefully that just makes League of Legends better as an esport. I really hope that it's not gonna. If it is, I won't be too sad because. but I'll be pretty sad, especially because of all the money that's coming in.
Definitely.
Overwatch, the one thing I really enjoyed the production. I really enjoyed like commentators are really fun. The one thing though, it is kind of hard. Even like I know the game, I understand it, but getting into like the vision, all the chaos going on around.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's practical, but what would be really cool is if somehow they made a way for you can kind of like tab to which role you want to see. Like,
yeah,
I want
to stick on the support, and then if you want, you go back to the general view that everyone else is seeing.
The problem is,
that's just really.
I'd love for them to do that. Here's the problem: you have to move away from Twitch. You have to get out of Twitch, then you're ruining viewership numbers. And viewership is like, I don't know about you guys, but to me, it's so important. Like it's so much more exciting to know, like, oh, this is being viewed by 100,000 players, not okay, my stream's being viewed by 2,000 players. Sure, there's more elsewhere.
But you can watch it in the client, though.
Oh yeah, you do something on their website.
I mean, they'd have to make your client good, not shit. But you would like. If you did it in client, then it would work. Obviously, it wouldn't work on Twitch, or they could just get better at.
Yeah, I mean, we've been asking for like different perspectives from like Riot for League of Legends for years. They've never given it to us. I know you can do this. You can do it for I think Dota, and I'm not sure about CS:GO. Pretty sure you can do it for Dota 2. Obviously, I think you can spectate in game in StarCraft as well. But no, I think Overwatch would definitely benefit from being.
We need more backline cameras, more backline perspectives. That way we can see everything.
As somebody who's been watching Overwatch for a long time, this is what I'll say. Overwatch spectating used to be the worst thing ever. It's where the meme came from, where everyone's like, I watch Overwatch, I can't understand what's going on. Because it really was horrible. Like, big moments in the game would happen, nobody would catch it. And they'd have to show you in a replay, like, after the game. And it's like, oh, okay, that's why this happened. And it was so bad. But with Overwatch League, I feel like I see every kill that's like really impressive. And if I don't see it immediately, I see it in a replay like a minute after it happens. Like if they do ever miss something. And then I feel like I always am understanding why a fight is going on that's like going on. Like and why it's swinging one direction. And like I'm seeing like Jonak, right click and like snipe people with the Zenyatta. Like I'm seeing that happen. Like I don't have to just take the caster's word. League of Legends is a lot better in that way. I don't think you ever miss big action. And sometimes the casters miss big action, like something that happened. Like Ole forgot to eat double lift today on top Kench, and the casters literally at no point in the entire game knew that happened, which is frustrating. But
I'm of unpopular casters. They just I don't care about it. I have to say, it
do matter, especially for like new people watching it.
And they make the hype, right? There's no hype without the casters.
It doesn't help me.
There's no hype without the casters.
It would be boring. Like you need some sort of background noise to be able to. Like you need something.
It's not just background noise. It's also they're the people who understand the game. They're the ones who are telling you, okay, this is why this is important. This is why this was significant. This is how good this guy is. This is how good this guy's been, and why it's so weird that he's bad now, right? Like they're covering so much stuff that's so, I think, important. I think that if you watched more and listened to the casters more, I feel like I'd hope at least start to appreciate them more. As it is, it's hard to make the argument without you having listened more.
Yeah, I disagree. Obviously, I from what I've listen to them, I feel like a lot of their commentary and of any use a lot of times, like I don't know, a lot of it stems from whatever they're building. Like it just seems like they're calling out. They're calling out for League of Legends names, more. They're calling them out like all this stuff. It's like, whatever. It's like I can watch the action. I can see what's going on. For now, my opinion is, just personally, I can watch it without.
I think there's also a difference. Like if I'm watching like Freak and Zyrene cast a game, sometimes those two can have like off games where it's like Freak's making puns that aren't funny, and he's casting but he's missing massive stuff on his play-by-play, and then Zyrene will sometimes talk about like random stuff that has nothing to do with the game, and like he'll give analysis that I'm like, I don't know if that's true at all. But like, I mean, if it's a big difference if you're listening to like Deficio and Quickshot cast a game, right? Like those two, like Deficio knows exactly what to tell you about like the strategy, right? And Quickshot he's calling out the names, he's calling out the plays, but he's infusing it with an energy that just makes everything so much more fun. I think you might be if you like more to like watch casters because like every single one of the casters on Overwatch League are like ridiculous.
I think they're probably better. I'd say. But I'm so attention deficit that I can't like watch Overwatch and listen to those guys.
Yeah,
it's too much.
It is a lot to listen. I think it's harder because in League of Legends they do have like great casters, but they're spread over like 5 regions. Whereas in Overwatch League, you have like some of the best Overwatch cast, or some of the really good Overwatch casters aren't even casting Overwatch League because there's only so many games to cast. So like Proxy Wolf isn't even casting Overwatch right now, even though it's like a really good Overwatch caster. So like I think, and the same thing is with League of Legends. You have Papa Smithy, Quickshot, Captain Flowers, Jat, and they're spread so far across like. You only get to really appreciate how good the league casters are at like Worlds.
Yeah.
Right. and that's fine, I guess.
You know what I liked? I liked.
What was
Those
that called?
streams are fun.
What are they called?
They're calling it the LCS Lounge.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Yeah, those that I could listen. That I was. They weren't giving super critical analysis, but at least they were having fun with it, and I felt like, or at least more fun than I. They're doing a job. They're doing what they're doing, and you guys are just having some
What I like about
bragging on their.
What I like about caches though is like just keep track of stuff I don't want to keep track of, or information I'm not gonna know. Like I'm just like, oh, double lift is 0-10 going into Rek'Sai. I'm like, that's something that I'm gonna keep track of, but it's cool to know in game. Like, oh, cool.
I'm not
like,
gonna remember that.
Yeah, but it's cool in game to see
not
like
gonna
how
care,
something's
really.
gonna play out. You know.
Yeah, it's nice if you have that lull moment in chat. You know, it's like, oh, ha ha ha, really? Oh, they're doomed this game. It's kind of fun, but I think that's kind of the point of it. You know, esports is for entertainment, it's for fun, it's for enjoyment. If you have more fun muting the casters and
I'm
watching
not
music,
muting them. It's fine. I'm listening to
sure.
them.
But if you did have more fun muting them, that's up to you. You know, you'll enjoy if you enjoy the game more. If anyone, game more, watching whatever the way they want to watch. And I think that's fine. I think that we're all for fun in esports. Like, I don't think people should be as salty as they sometimes.
definitely.
And maybe that's just me as a Team Liquid fan, as someone who's been like so into the game despite being a Team Liquid fan for so long. I feel like it's for fun. You don't have to take it so personally. You don't have to be so salty. I guess that's our ending message: is don't stay salty rather than stay salty. Enjoy sports, enjoy games, and try not to face check. Hopefully you'll be with us next week, and we'll put out something that will be equally as entertaining and equally as controversial, or more controversial. Let's try to up the ante, guys. What do you guys think? Up the ante?
I think we could try to be fun.
I'm pretty damn funny
I think I'm hilarious. Thank you very much.
I need to work on my
Speak for
funny.
yourself.
Speak for yourself. All right.
All right, fine.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. If anyone listens, and hope you enjoy. Watch these games. This week's gonna be really fun.
Peace.
Bye bye.